All right, folks. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone is having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. I'm doing great. How?
Oh, just lost Norm there for a sec. Give him a second to pop back on. Um,
I don't know what happened. I'm doing. Can you hear me now?
yes, perfect.
I don't know what happened. I didn't click anything. I'm doing well. Hope you're doing all right.
Good, man. Good. Glad to hear that. All right, let's get into it. Yesterday's pre-market. Well, here's our rundown before we start. Rundown. We're gonna go over top plays and highlights from yesterday, as usual. Then we'll get into our gapper scanners over here, which is looking very nice. Let's hope some of these numbers are actually trading very well. Look at all these percentages: -33, -20, -15. Definitely like to see that. And we know these ELTKs are low flow, but that is up today again. So that's been on a tear the last couple of days. We'll get into that as well. Then we'll go over our top list over here, see what we can find in this area. We'll check the top 10 in each column. Then we'll get into any news. We'll normally go over any news, any major stuff happening, and then we'll get into finding support and resistance. So let's hope that today we have a better list than yesterday. Let's go over yesterday's list here. BYND. Let's look into our 5 minutes, see how that traded right in here. So BYND again, beautiful short, but just very hard to find stocks to short on this ticker. I didn't have any shares for sure. I know some people with IB and other brokers didn't have it neither, but you could touch just a very nice drop here once it leaves VWAP. Kind of the same thing that we'll go over PVH. Kind of the same thing I did. It had this pop, and then you see the selling pressure right on these wicks. Then once it goes below VWAP, you wait for a good entry there, and that could be a nice drop. Let me just get the 1 minute in line as well with yesterday's chart. Here we go. All right, so beautiful drop here. Comes back and tests these moving averages and continues to drop. So the entire day is just on a real nice downtrend. Not entire day, the entire morning on a real nice downtrend here on BYND. Unfortunately, no possible shorts for this ticker. Next, we had AMD. AMD was one that I tried to take a stab on as well. But again, just got a little late into the action. Nice downtrend here. Looked like it was going to test this previous day close and crack that, but unfortunately, actually previous day close from yesterday was a little higher. It was around this area here. So just a lot of buying pressure in here. Whatever level this was, 28.10, did not want to get any lower, and you can see the squeeze right back up to VWAP. So not too clean at the open, and this price action here was kind of nasty too. You could look at the 1 minute; it wasn't as clean. Out of all the days that I trade AMD, this day it did not trade clean at all. Then we had DG. DG was another one. It actually traded nicely, but the volume was not there. When I started looking at it, it was in this area here. It looked like it was possibly going to break out, but it just lost all the volume. So it was a good opening range breakup if you were watching this. Unfortunately, I was watching PVH. But right in here, nice pullback. You can see the buying pressure, right? When you see this wick, you don't want to jump in here. Technically, you want to kind of wait and see what's actually going to happen. It's a big indecision candle, and we know those first 5 minutes could be a little bit crazy. But once you see that it starts leveling out, get this pullback, another squeeze as well here above VWAP, that could have been a great entry for an opening range breakup towards the high of the day. And what makes this nice is also look at the opening, the 1 minute, right? The 1 minute has a very clean pattern here, getting above the VWAP, higher highs, higher lows, and clearly breaks the high of the day, continues to get higher. So that was DG. PANW. This one was, again, just crazy, pretty nasty. I was watching this one, not great. Doesn't this engulfing pattern here, so you might think it's going to actually go short here, and it does. It just kind of pops up and gets a little crazy in here, a little choppy, and then if you were looking for open range breakup, also sells down. So again, just not a good opening strategy on PANW. And then after that, just kind of got pretty choppy, just kind of hanging around the VWAP and not doing much until later on in the mid-morning. PVH was nice. This one was one that a lot of you guys took it in the chat room. Kurt did a recap yesterday. Check his recap out. He got in right in this area. Just a perfect entry for open range breakdown. And again, you can see here just the same thing, kind of what happened with BYND. It's just going to go back to it. You see this wick, so you see this buying pressure. So some of us might look at that and say, hey, this stock looks weak, right? That's a sign of weakness here. When you see that, I'm sorry, not buying pressure, selling pressure, just constantly pushing the price down. Same thing here with PBH. This is what I liked about PBH. On the 1 minute, you see the constant selling pressure, just keeping the price below the VWAP, this blue line we have here. And then you wait 3 to 5 minutes and you got a great entry here for a possible short. And then we have some levels on here. We had 87.96 from yesterday. And we also found 86.55. And look how it comes right down to this level. And then also down to this one, 86.56 here. If you had a great entry, you could have survived these pullbacks here and made a a greater move over to that level that we found. Next, we have BURL. This one was nasty. This one was really, really crappy, really choppy. Again, just kind of hung around the VWAP here, chopping around, and really didn't do much for the entire morning. And later on, it's kind of sold off. But again, it's just not really anything tradable here. Let me see how it ended the afternoon. Did it do anything fun? It had a drop here. Finally lost VWAP here. I didn't see this, but finally lost VWAP, and it became a good trend trade towards the bottom after the mid-morning. But at the morning, this was just pure chop. So hopefully you stayed away from this action here. Freaky Fizz, where's Andrew? So Andrew is so this is a pre-market show. We start from 8:30 to 9:15. Then Andrew comes on after that and does his watch list. So Andrew is not on in the pre-market show. He's on later trading for the chat room. In some situations, he'll trade live for YouTube, but he's trading for the chat room. And then from there, for those that don't know, Brian comes on after Andrew's done. Then Norm comes on. Then William. Then Peter. We have trade reviews. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. Definitely check our website to see all the stuff that's going on in the chat room. Basically, the entire day, we have activities, which is great. All right, so what else we have? ELTK. Let's just look at this one. ELTK took off nicely, man. This was a beautiful just a pop here. It comes above VWAP, never looks back. This is a lower flow stock, so hopefully if that's your niche, you was able to take advantage of this beautiful situation here. At the open, sells down right below VWAP, people taking profit, and then it just takes off and never looks back all the way up to 11. So Soli as well. Soli the same thing. Sold off, people taking profits, and then here, nice, beautiful pop right above VWAP, and then also never looks back, hitting 25. But again, it's just a scary stock to be in. But if this is your niche, hopefully you was able to get a nice move out of that. So those two were definitely in play yesterday. I think ELTK is going to be in play today as well. It's already up 8%. So if we look at the daily, look at this daily chart. The last 3 days has just been very active, making higher highs, higher lows in here. And today looks like it wants to break out, maybe test that 1150 again. All right, folks. So that is our list from yesterday. Not the greatest. The day before we had an amazing list, right? So many movers, and that's okay. Our job as technical traders is to be able to find the best opportunities possible, and the market's not going to give it to us every day. So we got to be very careful with that. Let's get into our gappers list here. I'm going to start from the bottom because these look very interesting. I cannot wait to get into these. Let's look at a ZOU. Actually, no, before we get into this,
you already have FOMO.
Yeah, right. I'm already skipping some segments here and everything. Before we get into the gappers list, that's how excited I am this morning to find out what's going on with this negative
Mouth's
33.
watering. You replied to one of my tweets this morning. Can't wait to see what the market's going to give us today. You're ready to roll, man.
Yeah, man. I gotta hit the brakes here. I'm probably talking too fast too. Let me slow down and let Norm get through the news and any fun stuff going on this morning in the market.
No, quite all right. I think everybody probably heard President announced he's going to put new tariffs on Mexico starting, I believe, at 5% June 10th, and then they're going to ratchet up 5% every month until they get some of the migration issues under control. So we'll see what happens there. I know that the Mexican president this morning was doing his daily press conference and had mentioned it and sounded like they're willing to work with us. So maybe it won't go too crazy, but that's caused futures to be hit pretty hard this morning, down 1% on the SPY right now. VIX has popped up 11.5% to 1930. When we had some of this volatility a couple of weeks ago, when the China stuff broke down, it was over 20. So I'm curious to see if it pops over 20 today. Into the mid-20s, but I mean, that's kind of what's going on. Earnings is slowing down. I personally haven't been taking a whole lot of trades this week. I mean, there have been some great things that have presented themselves, but kind of not in my wheelhouse. So anyway, I tweeted Monday night that I thought we were going to be range bound for a little bit, and I knew we were on the bottom of that range, and if it broke, we might have something, like this going on, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. Anyway, what else is it? Yeah, go right into it, Carlos, and then I'll pop in on these gappers while we go through. A lot of this is just market stuff, but
yeah, right in this area, probably right this negative 2% or so. So let's see.
Yep.
All right, excellent. So CUO, let's get into this one. So this one is down nicely. Looks like we traded before in the past because we do have some levels in here. Gonna remove these just so we can get a nice, fresh, clean look. So clearly some bad news going on with ZUO, down 33%, 284,000 shares traded so far. Just want to take a look at the pre-market action. Actually not bad. It's a bit early, but this is turning to be a nice pre-market action. So here's the difference, guys, between, having 200,000 shares traded in one lot here, right? You'll see the volume bar here, and then it'll be 200K, right? In this situation, we have 284, but it's spread out, right? Spread out amongst several candles here. This is what creates a nice flow here. So usually you want to make sure that just because a stock has tons of volume and it's down, quite a bit, you want to make sure that that volume is spread out across, creating a nice flow here. Kind of tells you that people are actually looking at this and trading it this morning. So this one looks great right now. A bit early for the pre-market action to hopefully get better as the day develops. Down quite a bit on the daily chart. This is a beautiful drop here. Again, you see it lost all support in this area. Even this one here, this one didn't even hold it down. It's gapping down below this one. And we'll go back and find some more supports on what are between this 14 and 13 range. Norm, on this one here, who messed up on this stock today? What's going on?
I guess anybody that owned it long. Anybody that owned it long. Yeah, they reported last night after the close, and they missed their revenue numbers, and they had a loss. They were expected to have a loss, I too believe, but they lowered their guidance, so they're just being pummeled this morning.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice big drop there. So this one will be interesting. Next, we have NTNX. We're down 20% on this one, 355,000 shares traded so far. Let's take a look at the pre-market action. So here's one where you have not half, but you have quite a lot of volume here in this one stock, sitting at 87,000 shares in this one. This one candle here. So pre-market action doesn't look as great as ZUO, but still a lot of volume. Still got something going on here. This one is also down, very similar to ZUO. Are they related? They're very
other than the fact that they both had a terrible earnings reports yesterday and guidance. Yeah. Nutanix reported, and the business that they're in, some people are, if you look back to their last report in February, you can see a massive drop from the gap down from 52-ish, 50-ish to the mid-30s. And then this is a similar kind of gap down. They just seem to disappoint on every single earnings report they put out there.
Wow. So let's see what that.
Well, their competitor, and their competitors are making money, or at least not getting hit like this. So some questionable management for sure.
Yeah, definitely doing something wrong here. So they're down 21%. Pre-market action looks all right at the moment. Not great, right? But again, this daily chart looks interesting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people watching this, especially you're down 20% or so. So that's good on some negative news. Will be good to see what happens there. Next, we have GPS. So GPS is down 15%, 314,000 shares traded. Pre-market action so this morning. Let's see what we got on the daily. Nice little drop here on the daily as well. So what's the ATR on this one? Just curious. ATR 78 cents. All right, so that's not bad. So this one's also dropping nicely today. We do have, on all these three that are dropping this much, we do have shares for short right now. We can see our S over here. No short selling restriction yet. Hopefully none of these would jump into that. But all have stocks, all have available inventory for short at the moment. So Norm, this one here, GPS, also down quite a bit.
Yeah, they missed earnings, they missed revenues, they cut their 2019 forecast, their guidance for the year. All this retail over the last couple of weeks on their earnings has really been, a lot of it's been hit pretty hard, and Gap is no different. So especially I think people are worried, so many of these clothes are manufactured in China. Tariffs and everything else, that people are worried it's going to hit them even further as we go into the year.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Here we have next GM. So GM, a little difficult to trade GM. Let's put it on here. So at the moment it is down 4.8, 180,000 shares traded. Pre-market action not great at all, and actually a lot of the volume must be, where's the volume here? Again, not a lot of crazy volume this morning on this one. Just seems a little flat, a little choppy. So in GM, for me, I haven't had luck trading with GM. Down quite a bit today. Any news on GM and what's causing this drop here, or it's just overall market?
Yeah, this is directly related to the Mexico tariffs. When you take into consideration that cars pass across the border back and forth something like a dozen times while they're being built. A 5 to 25% tariff on them every time it's going is not real good for business. And I think my understanding is GM builds more in Mexico than any of the others, so that's why it's down so much.
That definitely is going to hurt these guys. So we'll see. The daily chart in GM is not great, guys. You could tell right here, it seems to be very choppy. It doesn't trade as clean as other stocks. But today with this news, we can definitely hopefully get something out of GM this morning. Next, we have T. T here down 2%, 270,000 shares traded. At the moment, I do like this daily chart. This daily chart looks like it is leaving some of these support levels we had here. Low of yesterday, low of 2 days ago. You got some moving averages. I mean, it's just ran right through all these supports. So that's nice to see. It could be that it's looking very weak this morning. Let's look at the pre-market action. Pre-market action right now is looking so-so. 278,000 shares traded. It's has a nice little downtrend going here. Not a lot of activity right now. But this does look looks interesting for today on AT&T. Any news on this one? Are they doing earnings or?
No, there's nothing. I have not really found the catalyst on this move. This might just be with the market itself. You know, these utility stocks. I mean, it's kind of a utility. They've gotten away from obviously just phones with DirecTV and everything else, but. You know, they're hard to trade, so I'm not too interested in it myself.
Yep.
But I'm not finding a catalyst for the down move right now.
Yeah, and I don't see any other cell phone companies. Peter, you're right. There was some talk before right in here, right, about T-Mobile, Sprint, all these guys doing a deal, and that's what caused this one to move. And if I remember, we were watching those stocks, Sprint, TNT, T-Mobile, AT&T, and they all traded bad. They all traded very horrible. Even with the news here that if you look at the intraday chart here, it's just choppiness all over the place. So we'll keep it on here for now. But again, not a fan of T-Mobile. Of AT&T here. Next we have X. X is another one that can be very, very choppy. So you got to be careful the way this stock trades. Here is down 2.9, 106,000 shares traded. Daily chart in a very nice downtrend over the last couple of days. Let's look at the pre-market action. Yeah, pre-market action is pretty crappy right now. So this is not a great pre-market action. You can tell by all these gaps in here. It just doesn't have a nice flow to it. You know, you look at a ZUO, right? If we go back to this one, this is a good pre-market action. It's got a nice little trend going. You know, it's got some volume down here. And look, it's dropping lower now. Can't wait to find levels for that one. You go back to X, this is a horrible pre-market action. There's no flow to it. You got one bar here with 43,000 shares, next one with nothing. Then you know, it's just nasty. So we'll drop that one off. Any news on X, or it's just doing its own thing?
The steel company, U.S. Steel, and they're getting hit by tariff stuff. That the tariff stuff makes them go crazy. They got an analyst downgrade yesterday, I believe. So once again, like you said, I mean, it's just not something I personally, for my own trading style, find tradable.
All right, let's look at Uber this morning. Uber up 2.1, 297,000 shares traded so far. It's getting rid of some of these levels. Daily chart seems to be wanting to break out here. Looks like it's trying to hold some kind of pattern here. Again, had three red days over the last couple of days, and now it's popping up 2%. So interesting daily chart. Looks like I might want to break out of that range, but oh man, going into the pre-market action again, it just doesn't look too great right now. We got a one candle here with a lot of volume, then the rest is kind of dying down a bit. So again, not too interesting on what's happening here. And what I don't like about Uber, again, I don't have shares for sure, so I can't play it both ways. And the few times that it's been in play, I watched the action, and I really don't like the way it trades right now. And this happens. It seems to happen with recent IPOs, right? Lyft was the same way. When Lyft first broke out, I mean, the first few days, 2-3 weeks, it was just nasty to trade. The spread was horrible. So again, not a fan of Uber just yet. But we'll keep it on here, see what it develops as the morning goes on. Anything driving this today, or it's just regular Uber stuff?
Yeah, no, they reported earnings last night, and I guess the bottom line is they only sucked as bad as people thought they were going to suck, and not any worse. So yeah, I mean, they have $1 billion loss, which is exactly what people were looking for, but their bottom line is they're still losing money. And like you're saying, so these stocks on these IPOs, many of the big holders have a lockup period of 180 days where they can't even trade, they can't do anything, they just have to sit there on their shares. So until those hit the float and they release some of those shares, 6 months down the road, they're really it can have that choppiness, and then as time goes on, you get more shares into the market. Now Uber's a little bit different only because it has a pretty decent float out of the gate compared to most other IPOs.
Got it.
And IB has shares for short, but I mean it's not unlimited. They've only got 400,000 right now.
Yeah, that could be eaten up really quick at the open. What do we have here? Solely. Let's look at this one now. This is a low flow stock, so I'm just gonna drop it down here. Let's make some room for it. This one's been on a tear the last couple of days. Today it is up 4.3. Whoops. Here we go. All right, so up 4.3, 140,000 shares traded so far. Again, just it had a great trading day right here. Was this 28th? This was 3 days ago, 4 days ago. Then after that, again, you can catch some moves on this stuff, but it's more like gambling, or I don't want to say gambling because there are some traders making some really good money because this is their niche, right? This is what they wait for. They sit around and wait for these type of moves, and they know how to trade these moves. So it's not gambling. They know what they're doing, but I think those traders are very experienced, and the learning curve in these type of stocks, I think it's a lot higher, and the risk management has to be very, very tight. You cannot make mistakes on a stock like this because your account will pay for it big time. Unlike an AMD, an MU, or something like that, for those stocks, you're not gonna get dropped at $2, $3, $4 like it can happen on this one. So right now it looks like it's popping up a bit. Pre-market action is not looking great. Again, not really interested in trading this one today at all, or any low flows for that matter, just because it's not our niche, right? Let's look at the next one, MYOV. MYOV is up 5.7, 167,000 shares traded so far. Pre-market actions looks a little crappy, to be honest. Doesn't look great. So maybe if we get more volume in here, this can get going. So what is the float on this one, and do we have any news?
Yeah, they've got a secondary offering, so it probably won't be that interesting of a trade, but keep our eye on it.
Okay, that makes sense here. All right, so next we have LETK. Well, this one we looked at earlier, LETK. This is also a low float. Again, it just looks like it wants to break out here, guys. If you're into these type of stocks, this looks like it's setting up nicely. It has had couple of days where it's making higher highs, higher lows, and closing higher too. So here it's popping up quite a bit, popping up 10%. It hit what was the high yesterday? It hit here almost 1158, right? So could test that today again. Pre-market action, it's looking all right. This is a decent pre-market action. It's got a nice some ABCD patterns forming here. You got A, B, C, people buying it up, and now here could be a possible breakout if it can get going. So, and it's got some volume. It's got some volume coming in. So this could be interesting today. Again, if you're into these stocks, just make sure you're trading very small size, and you don't want to miss your stop loss on these type of stocks, right? You want to make sure you stick to your stop loss and be very, very disciplined. All right, anything else you have? Oh, we have another one here, Fold. Let's see what's going on with Fold, F-O-L-D. All right, so this one,
my least favorite chore of all.
Your least what?
My least favorite chore of all, folding.
Oh my god, yeah, that's one. Yeah, I hate it. So here we have, this one's up 2%, 206,000 shares traded. Pre-market action from here to here just looks nasty. This looks crappy here. So hopefully here it can get going and do something nice. Let's just check what the float is on this. We're looking at 187 million shares float. Let's look at the daily. Daily looks all right. Seems like it's been causing us a little bit of chop here. It's dropped down. It's kind of rebounding today. Any great news on this, or this is just doing its own thing?
There's a couple of small pieces of news, including a possible secondary offering, it looks like, but I'm not seeing a whole lot.
Okay. Yeah, so not looking too interesting really right now on this pre-market action or the daily. Just not seeing anything that looks great. All right, I'm going to make some space here so we can see, go over what you guys have on your end. Norm, do you have anything that looks great this morning?
Yeah, well, I'm going to keep my eye on NVIDIA. I've tested the waters on it a little bit and it had just tiny trades, but Nvidia's fallen off a cliff since its big run up after Christmas Eve, and it looks like it wants to go down and test that 124 level from December again. So I'm going to see what it does here. It's gotten through all the really important levels. Maybe 130ish it has to go right there, and then down to 124. So we'll see. And then Roku, of course, and Roku and Apple, but Apple's been kind of stagnant for me recently.
Yeah, Nvidia, man. Look at this drop now. I mean, it's just crazy. We're trading at what, 195 down to 137. Just every day, it's just dropping. So today not doing much right now, but again, it could be interesting. Like you said, you got some really good levels coming up. This 130 and there's also this 120ish over here. It looks like it's going for it. There's no sign of any type of reversal happening here, and the markets is definitely not helping it. So not going to watch it right now, but Nvidia is definitely one that you want to keep your eye on if you have stocks you watch on a regular basis like Norm does. Roku's been interesting. I know a lot of us been watching this one lately here. I think it eventually wants to get up to 100. Might not do it today, might not do it next week, but or later into the week next week. But it does seem strong, right? It just continues to make higher lows over here, and now it's doing the same thing that it reminds me of what it did here, right? It popped up, consolidated here, popped up, and now it's consolidating again. And again, this might just want to get higher and break new all-time highs right over here. So that one's interesting. Apple. Yeah, Apple, the last couple of days, Apple usually has a great pre-market action. In the last couple of days, we have not seen that from Apple, and that's showing in their daily trading as well. You're not getting those nice, great moves. Daily chart seems to be kind of stuck within this range here. But
there's been very little follow through on daily moves on Apple recently that I've been a part of. I've kept my eye on it, and I think I'm going to start to see something happen, and it just doesn't happen. And then Anne is asking if Nvidia trades tricky like Roku. I'm guessing by tricky you mean a little bit what's the word? Not choppy, because it can have nice clean moves, but it has a little bit of a spread on it. Roku to me trades a little bit more whippy than Nvidia does itself. Nvidia is a little bit cleaner to me, but it just depends on the day.
Yeah, when Nvidia trades well, it goes on these really nice trend trades, and you could really spot the double bottoms. It trades a lot cleaner than Roku for me too. I don't trade Nvidia as much, but I see you trade it, and when you call this stuff out in the chat room, man, it's nice and clean than Roku is. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I like Apple more than either of them, frankly, because if it moves much more smoothly for something that's in that price range, but it just hadn't been giving much recently to be able to trade. So anyway.
Yep. All right. So I'm gonna wait for Roku to hit our scanners. I think that one could be good for any day to really watch if you have space for it. Let's see what you guys have on your end. So I see some of you mentioning WSM over here. This one is up 11%. Doesn't have great volume right now. That's why the pre-market action doesn't look too great. But it looks like this is up quite a bit, 10% here. Daily chart looks a little funky, the daily chart here, but this is up nicely. Norm, we have news on this one today. WSM.
Yeah, Williams-Sonoma reported earnings. I'm not.
Okay.
I've traded it before, and I wasn't a real big fan, so I didn't look what the exact news was on it. But yeah, they reported earnings last night.
Oh, it's Williams-Sonoma. Yeah, I know these guys. All right, yeah, they don't trade too clean either. All right, so here again.
My guess is it might go up because of all the wedding gifts that are coming your way, right?
I hope so. I hope so.
I'm gonna throw one more out there, and the pre-market kind of stinks right now. But Facebook looks like it wants to open under the 50 daily, which might be interesting. So I'm gonna keep my eye on that. It's not something that who knows. The pre-market's ugly, but I'll keep my eye on it.
Yep. So Williams-Sonoma, guys, this one again looks nice, up 10%. Just the volume is not there right now, so keep an eye on it. But we have way too many here, so I'm going to remove this one just to kind of filter some out based on volume, right? So we got some pretty good volume in here. I know I'm going to remove X because it trades nasty. When we have some other good ones we can watch, a great volume. ZOU 400, 300, 390, 217, but GM trades nasty. I might remove this one as well. We'll go through these, but we have way too many, and also Sally shouldn't be here, so let's remove this one. That's a low flow stock, so we'll get into that one. Anything else, guys? Anything else you guys like that got some good volume that could be a good one to watch? Tesla, let's check out Tesla IOVA. I'll do that one next. So Tesla here, pre-market action a little bit all over the place. Got some volume, down only 1.7. We're almost getting there. I need Tesla to get down to $80 so I can start trading it. So we're almost there. The way this thing is dropping, but we'll see. Tesla's been interesting, to say the least, on the daily. But again, just right now, I don't see anything too crazy on it, on Tesla. Next, we have IOVA. Let's take a look at that. That is up 6.1, 101,000 shares traded so far. What we got going on over here? Looks like we looked at it before in the past because I have some levels here. Pre-market action though is a little choppy right now. Doesn't look as clean. It must be because it doesn't have great volume yet, right? Still, it's just cracking 101,000 shares traded. So maybe as the morning gets going into the open, it can be something. But I tend to want to watch stocks that already have the volume going. Does not mean that this stock cannot trade great, guys. That's not what I'm saying. Because we've seen stock have a horrible volume, horrible pre-market action, and they trade amazing. But most likely than not, the ones that already have the volume are the ones that are really going to get going, right? So that's the only reason why I'm removing IOVA. And I can only watch 6 stocks. Everybody, you have to watch whatever stocks you're set out to watch, whether it's 4, 3, whatever number it is. You want to give yourself a good solid number. You can't watch everything. All right. So then what else we got, guys? Over here, Roku. Let's look at. Oh, we looked at Roku. We looked at Tesla. What else we have? Drip. What's going on with Drip? Yeah, so Drip, no volume right now, guys, and pre-market action is not looking too good at the moment. VG, let's check what's going on with VG. Yep, no volume on this one. WLL. All right, so this one is down. So it looks like Enzo. It looks like the stocks you're listing are up or down nicely, 3% or whatever percentage, but the volume is not there. So I'm really looking for something that has some volume this morning in the pre-market action. SBOT. This one is taking off nicely today, up 72.5, 3.3 million shares traded at the moment. This is a 5 million shares float. Definitely active. It has ran up in the past. You can see here. Opened up here, ran all the way up to $3 and then sold off. So it is a former runner. But again, this is one I will definitely not watch. But again, pre-market action is looking very, very active with some serious volume. If this is in your niche, this is definitely in play today. Throw this on your watch list and trade it safely. TWLO. This one's got some volume. TWLO. It was great when it was in play with all the gaming stuff happening. Is it this stock? I don't make sure I'm confused. But I remember we were trading this. Believe it was this one. But now I don't see much going on, guys. It's down 1.7. It's got 178,000 shares traded, but the pre-market action is not looking too great at the moment. And so we got quite a bit to watch. So we're gonna go through this list, but before we do that, we'll make this list a little smaller. Let's go over some announcements. We got some stuff happening this weekend as well. So Norman's going to bring us up to date on that, and then we'll get into some levels, support, and resistance.
Yeah, I'll roll through these pretty quickly because I know we're a little bit behind. But our next in our series of our YouTube Live Ask Me Anythings will be this tomorrow morning, 11:30 Eastern, with Brian and William. So it should be really interesting. I believe the link has been posted and already set up in YouTube, so you can go ahead and subscribe and keep an eye on that. Andrew will be speaking at the Modern Trader Summit in Montreal, June 22nd. We're going to have a meetup the night before, June 21st. I will be there. Peter will be there. William will be there too. So come out and see us. You don't have to be a member of the room. Come out and talk trading with us on Friday night, and go to the Modern Trader Summit if you like. And let's see, the voice is now starting to go the more I talk. But, thanks everybody posting your setup pictures. The voting, I believe, ends today on the setups to win the laptop. So go in the forum and vote by using the like reaction, and somebody's going to win that trading laptop. What else do we have, Carlos? I feel like I'm missing something.
I think that's the Benzinga. Benzinga's coming up as well, right?
Yeah, we've got the Benzinga conference. We'll be live trading at that. right at the open for a few minutes, and that is on June 20th. So I'll be there with Andrew. That's in New York City, on our way to Montreal, and that's it. Yeah. So come support William and Brian and ask me anything tomorrow. That'll be awesome.
Yeah,
As well.
absolutely. All right, folks. So let's get into it. Let's make this list a little smaller. Let's eliminate the week. Let's start with the first one on here. Yeah, thank you for that. So someone mentioned this is the all-time low right here at 12.97. So that's good. That saves me some time in trying to go back and find levels. All right, guys. So this one is again nice drop here. This has got some horrible earnings, some bad guidance, I believe. And here we have low of the pre-market sitting at 12.97, which is the all-time low. So that's great. High of the pre-market 14.43. Get a nice big gap here. Let's see if we can get something close. Oh, this is good here. This is close enough. We have another 15.42 right in here. So let's mark that down, 15.50-ish area. What else we have? Do we have anything towards the top? Just want to get back over here. Okay, so this all the levels are close by, are within this range over here. So let's find another one in case we get going, because sometimes sometimes news could be over exaggerated. So 1779 could be another one. Why I'm selecting this level? You got several days going right back to this level. I mean, obviously people are looking at this 1780ish level, right? This is not a coincidence that it keeps coming back down to it and then bouncing up. When it can hold it, look what happens when it can hold the level. Huge drop, because everybody in here is probably expecting it's going to do the same thing, right? Did it before several times. It did it here, somewhat did it here. At least it stopped selling off and bounced back up. Did it here. I'm sure people got caught here saying, oh, it fell off, it's going to drop, and then it starts dropping, right? So again, this level here is important. 1552 as well. We got a nice drop all the way down here and heading back up. The more a level is tested, the more significant and importance that level has, right? So this one clearly been tested several times, so you definitely want to have that level in your chart. So again, this one's looking very good. Has probably one of the cleanest pre-market action of all the stocks we have today. Has some good volume. We do have shares for short. Just gonna click on this and check how much. Yep, we have plenty here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to how this one's going to trade. Again, don't be any type of bias on this type of stock. It looks weak right now. It's selling off. Look, it's going to test 12.97, but I guarantee you at the open you could be surprised. People could start taking their profits and covering, and this thing could squeeze up very aggressively. So stick to your plan of no FOMO, waiting that 5 to 10 minutes and wait for a strategy to develop, right? Don't jump in following the crowd just blindly without having a plan. You must have a plan. NTNX, this one also dropping quite a bit, but pre-market action not as clean as ZUO, right? This is he had a 10, 9 out of 10 here. This is like a 6, right? Look how choppy this is. But the daily chart is nice. I do like the way the daily chart is. Has a nice big drop here of 21%. High of the pre-market 21.61. Let's mark that down to low of the pre-market 25.30ish, and let's go back, see what we got going on. All right, scrolling. All right, so not all-time low. Some levels here within 2017, October and November. Look how this pre-market high and pre-market low are right at support and resistance for these couple of days right in here. So towards the bottom, we have a nice support in here at 2004. I'm basing that on this day here, and notice how that day also has a day over here, and somewhat this one over here, this little one, also testing at 2407. Towards the top, just to get something in case this thing goes north, we got several days on here. I'll tell you why I'm marking this 2747. I'm going to zoom in a little more because that's important. So you have this day popping up here, huge resistance. This day almost having huge resistance here. Eventually, when it gets above this, it comes right back down and tested it over a couple of days, right? That 2747 is being tested by several days here before it decides to go on this run back up here. So that's why I'm marking that down. In this area now, we have really no moving averages, so we have 2 levels towards the top, 2 towards the bottom. I think that's plenty, and we're going to see how the price action plays out. Again, right now, pre-market action not looking great, but I do love the drop of 20%. GPS down 14.3. The pre-market action starting to get nice here. Has a nice drop, bouncing back, so it's creating a nice little range, and the volume is picking up. We'd like to see this ramp here. Hopefully, it can stay steady. Continue to make some good moves here. We do have shares for short, which is great, so we could play this both ways. High of the pre-market 1790, low of the pre-market 1708. So we'll mark those two, and let's go back, see when gap was last down in these areas over here. Here we go. Back in 2016, we have, wow, look at that pre-market low hitting this thing right on the head right here. So let's get some levels towards the top here. We have this one over here, 1864. You have it being tested here, support and resistance here, and support on these couple of days here, bouncing off that 1864 before taking off. So that's nice. Just want to see if we have another level below this pre-market low. Or are we all-time low? I don't think we are. No, this one right here, this is an old one. We're going back to 2011, but it's good to have something down here. Look at that 1709 also being, you know, even back in 2011, still being some kind of support and resistance being tested here several times. I'm going to mark down this level over here seems to have been tested a couple of times, 1573. You got several days on here just coming back, you know, kind of stuck within this range of 1709 and 1573. Now, that's the level that looks great on this chart. Now, from my personal use, I like to have something in between here because that's a big drop for me. If I go short here, I'm not going to hold all my shares to 1573, right? That's not realistic. I don't think that's just not the way I trade. So I'm going to try to find a level in between here that looks somewhat decent. And I'm looking at 1660. Again, not the greatest level because a lot of chop here, but this level seems to be kind of in the midpoint. Also, you have some days bouncing from here. Again, not the greatest level. The best level is this one and the 17. But for my personal trading, I like to have something in between here. Like either take a partial there or be aware that, you know, within that area, if it continues to sell off, it can be nice or it can bounce back from there. So that's GPS, good pre-market action, great volume, down 14%. Let's see what happens there. GM is also down quite a bit, 4.1, but for me, GM just doesn't trade well, and the pre-market action is just not looking too great right now, to be honest. Seems very choppy, but just for purposes in case it does surprise us, low of the pre-market 32.83, high of the pre-market sitting at 34.20ish, so we'll mark that down. And then towards the bottom, we have a very clean level here being tested by these 2 days, 1 and 2, and then below that we have another level all the way down here at 31.48. Looks like it's bouncing back a bit here, guys, from the 32.82 low of the pre-market. So I don't think we'll be dropping, but again, just the pre-market action is not looking all too great here. T also has got some volume, but look at this. This volume is not creating any type of great pre-market action. I mean, this is a horrible pre-market action here. T does not trade very well. Let's find some levels towards the bottom. Pre-market, low pre-market 30.95. Let's mark that down. Very clean level here, 30.18. Right, it's a very clean. You can tell being tested here, and a couple of days here cannot sell below 30.18, and it goes back up. Below that, we have also more couple of days here, 29.78. Go mark that down as well. Then towards the top, you have all the moving averages. Also be careful with those. And then you have your high of your pre-market very close to the low and high. I'm sorry, to the lows of 2 days ago and yesterday. So I don't think you need to add any more on here. This stock is not one of my favorites. I'm probably going to drop this one off because we have plenty. And so far, we've seen some ones that are trading very well today. X is horrible market action. We have some action here, and then after that, it's just kind of died down. Yeah, exactly. So let's get rid of this. Uber looks like it wants to break out now. So this pre-market action is starting to look a little better. Daily chart looks nice. Looks like it's just ready to break out. You have this level here at 42, 41.81. You got a moving average. Yeah, go ahead.
It's going to be interesting because 42 is where it opened on the IPO, and 45 was where the IPO priced. So those two levels are going to be pretty significant.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You're right. 42 is where it opened up. So let's see what it does. It looks like it wants to break out here. I added 41.81, but look out for that 42. Like Norm was saying, that's going to be an important level. 43.25 and 44.97 is the all-time high. Towards the bottom, you got the low of 2 days ago, previous day close, and then even some more levels below the previous day close. So don't really need to add any more on here, guys. And don't be too harsh on these levels, right? These moving averages. A recent IPO, these moving averages are developing right now. You know, they're not as significant as they are when you have a stock that's been trading for a while and, you know, has some history under technical support and resisting moving average and things like that. MYOB, I'm going to get rid of, guys. It's pre-market action. I don't know. It is on short selling restrictions. I do not have shares for sure. And it just looks funky on the daily chart. Opening up pretty flat right now. And pre-market action just seems to be a little bit all over the place. Actually starting to get a little better now. The last couple of minutes starting to get a little better with some more volume. But for me personally, since I cannot trade it, it is on to the short side and it is on short selling restriction, I'm going to remove it because I got to stick to my my criteria, my personal criteria as well, of watching stocks that that fit my criteria as best as possible. And you have to do the same, right? So when we go through these stocks, you're gonna have your own personal criteria that you're good at based on your experience and on your trading. So you want to stick to those, right? If we have a list of 10, 20 stocks, 8 of them look great, you don't have to watch 8. If your plan is to watch 4, find your personal criteria, and that could be based on price action, the ATR, the float. Find what you're good at and just stick to that. You don't have to watch everything and be a hero on some of these stocks. Fold, this doesn't look great at all. It's just choppy pre-market action, so let's get rid of this. All right, what else we have here? So solely, what is solely up to? Again, guys, I'm not gonna watch this. This stock is a low float. It looks like it looks like it really wants to break out, but you can't trust these type of stocks. I think this was a 5 million shares float. I cannot tell you how much money I have lost on trading these low floats when I first started out. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just not my niche. So if it's not your niche, don't try to make it your niche now. Stick to what you're good at. ELTK, same boat. Actually has a cleaner pre-market action, has a cleaner daily chart here, and you can tell that it's starting to develop nicely here. Might want to go back up and test that 1158. So I'm only keeping this here, guys, just for entertainment purposes, because it is fun to watch. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, hey, I'm not gonna watch it. No, it is fun to watch, but I can control the FOMO of not going in here after I remind myself how much money I have lost in these. SBOT, also very exciting. It looks like it has a nice little pop here, up 73%, 4 million shares traded. It has ran up to $3 before, right in here, so it could be it is a former runner, but look at the sell off as well, right? So keep that in mind. Be careful if you're going to catch a falling angel strategy here or any kind of breakout. Make sure you have you're managing your risk properly. So we just kind of talk about SBOT now. I got being asked a question on YouTube. Again, the pre-market action looks great. Looks like it wants to break out. You just got to be careful. The $2 stock, it is, what's the float on this one? I'm not sure if it's a low float.
5 million, I believe.
Yes, 5 million shares. And just while we wait for Andrew to hop in here, let's just go back and look how it traded on this day. Can we go back that far? It's probably going to be a pain to go back that far. I want to see on this sell-off how the actual intraday traded. Let's see if we can get to it quickly, because it has ran up to $3 before. I hope my system doesn't freeze while I'm doing this and going back here. Come on. This is taking way too long. Yeah, guys, I wanted to share what the intraday was for that day, but it's taking way too long to get there. Just be careful with it, guys. It has run up before, but look at the sell-off. So just be careful with this. Again, it has tons of volume. It's interesting. It's going from $1.50 to almost $2.15 right now. So that's a whole dollar move on the lower price stock. That's a great move. But
I think Carlos, I think you're talking about March 8th. It opened at $1.75.
Yes.
Hit 290 and then closed at 154. So
yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it was just shot up, shot back down, one day, pump, dump, done.
Yeah. So be careful with that, guys. Again, it looks interesting, 73%. I mean, amazing, but just be really careful. All right, folks. So this is our watch list. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we have a good watch list today. Looks better than yesterday right now. ZUO here breaking this new low, making a new low down at 1280 so we can mark that down. And NTNX looks choppy, guys. Not my favorite. When Andrew comes on and Brian does his watch list and Norm sends his out as well, I might remove this one if I find something they're watching that looks better than this. GPS looks interesting. Started getting interesting between here, kind of bouncing up a bit now. Hopefully the volume can keep going. This is nice. We do have shares for short. Daily chart looks amazing. 2 levels to the top and bottom, which is nice. GM is not great, actually. You know what? I'm going to get rid of GM. I just don't like the way this one looks. So we'll get rid of that one. T has a nice little drop here. But again, just this pre-market, this is horrible, guys. This is not clean at all. So again, I'm just going to get rid of this one as well. All right, guys. Andrew's about to hop on. And we'll see his watch list and then see what he has. And then maybe I can add 2 more from what he has his end. Thank you for joining us, guys, on YouTube. Have a great weekend, and we will see you all on Monday. Do not forget, we do have the Ask Me Anything on Saturday. So make sure you check the link. It is on YouTube already. Set a reminder, and we'll see you on Saturday at 10:30 a.m. I believe. Thank you, guys.
Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Trade safe.